Hi everyone, this is Cynthia Kane again for UL100ZB. And in this video tutorial, I'm going to be going over the engagement activities and the two learning assessments that you can do for this week's module of visual literacy and citation. Before we start though, I wanted to give you all just a quick reminder that at the very top of our class, if you click on UL100ZB syllabus, you can always refresh yourselves on our guidelines and our policies for the syllabus. And in particular, I wanted to show you again the highlights for specifications grading that we are using in this class, just to make sure that you're very clear on what our expectations are. Remember that the learning assessments will be graded as complete or incomplete. And also remember that if you have a learning assessment that is returned to you with comments as incomplete, you do have an opportunity to read the comments, revise that learning assessment, and then resubmit it for consideration as complete. Please note again that just submitting an assignment or a learning assessment again does not necessarily mean that it is complete. It means that you are resubmitting it for consideration as complete. Also keep in mind that depending upon the grade that you're going for in this class, you actually can choose the number of learning assessments and the number of engagement credits that you actually complete for our engagement activities and our learning assessments. The web portfolio must be completed with a pass. We're going to start looking at that, and we've had an opportunity to already look at this in one of our video tutorials for this week. But again, just do keep in mind that we are actually doing this type of specifications grading, hopefully to lessen pressure on you. Remember that you are actually choosing the grade that you would want to complete in this class. So again, you can choose what you would want to go ahead and submit and turn in for consideration. So like I said, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time with that. We're going to go back home, and now we're going to scroll down to this week's module of visual literacy and citation. I cannot emphasize again enough that it's really essential that you watch all the video tutorials before you even start doing any of the engagement activities or learning assessments. The video tutorials give you all the information that you're going to need in order to do a good job with these engagement activities and learning assessments, and it really is going to help you in the long run. So we have our video tutorial for visual literacy and also for citation. We have our two articles that go along with citation that we want you to read. Manual Labor by Barbara Pfister, and here's the link for that. You can open that in a new window. And then the second reading that goes along with citation, Citation Fixation by Michael Stevens. And you can either choose to download the PDF or you can go ahead and read it online in this preview window. So please do read those very, very carefully. And after you complete those video tutorials, this is where you can find two other tutorials for Wix and also an additional Wix tutorial that's actually from YouTube on how to create the web portfolio. Again, please make sure that you're watching these tutorials very carefully because they give you the guidelines that you're going to need for that final assessment of the web portfolio that you're building that's based upon your topic. So now let's take a look at the engagement activities and the learning assessments for this week. Our first engagement activity, for a maximum of 5 points, is one that I hope that you'll enjoy. So for this activity, you're going to go to this link for Google Images and search in Google Images for one of the following occupations: nurse, doctor, librarian, or construction worker. Then I want you to take a few minutes to review the images that you retrieved when searching that occupation, and then write a discussion response below in which you answer the following questions. What was your reaction to the images compared with your own perceptions of the word that you searched for? Did you identify any common themes such as gender in the images, and why might some common themes emerge? And finally, how do visual images of occupations affect the ways that we might think of these occupations? Remember, images, photos, and so forth very much drive the way that we interpret information in terms of visual literacy. When you do your discussion response, please think in terms of probably at least about 5 or 6 sentences. Don't just write one sentence and then be done with it. That's actually not going to give you the engagement credit points. You really want to put some thought and some effort into answering all of these questions as you search one of these occupations in Google Images, and really think about the images that are being retrieved when you search. That is our first engagement activity. Our second engagement activity, if you choose to do this, is another TED Talk called The Danger of a Single Story. And this particular TED Talk concerns the fact that we can have multiple perspectives for a specific story or a specific narrative, and that it can indeed be a little bit dangerous or foolhardy just to depend upon one single perspective. If you decide that you're going to do this engagement activity, you can watch this TED Talk online, or you can actually read the transcript, or you can do both, whatever works best for you. And once you finish with the TED Talk, write a reflection again below in this discussion thread, in which you include your reactions, your thoughts, your ideas, or questions about the talk, how it relates to information literacy, and how the topic of the TED Talk relates to your personal experience and or society. Again, we really want you to be sure that you have a substantive post. So you don't want to just say, this really made me think, they were a good speaker. That's actually not going to earn the points. So when you're working on these engagement activities for points, remember that you do have to answer questions or fulfill the engagement activity fully in order to earn the full 5 points. We'll go back. And now we will take a look at the 2 learning assessments that you may choose to do. The first learning assessment, and this one is number 4, may sound a little bit familiar. So many of you did an introductory infographic as part of our first week's module to introduce yourself in a little bit more detail. We also gave you that opportunity to do that introductory infographic because we wanted you to have an experience creating an infographic. Some of you had done this before, and for others that was the first time you'd ever done it. So if you did that with your introductory infographic, you already know how to build an infographic. Well, this one's going to be a little bit more detailed. So what you're going to do in this is create an infographic using PictoChart or Canva, again, based on the topic that you are currently researching for your final project. So what you want to do is go out, find some articles, find some websites, use some books that really talk about your topic, and think about some facts about your topic that you would want to highlight for an audience that really doesn't know anything about your topic and wants to see it more in a visual form. So how are you going to communicate that information in a very quick visual format for somebody that doesn't know anything about your topic? Now, to help you do that, you can actually download, you don't have to turn this in, but you can download something called the Infographic Planning Worksheet. And this worksheet can often be very helpful in terms of organizing your information. Again, you do not have to turn in this worksheet, but think about what your topic is, what's your motivation, what's your interest, what's the purpose of the infographic. Identify your audience. Again, your audience is probably going to be someone who really does not have any familiarity with your topic. And identify some sources of data. So in other words, these sources would be journal articles, books, websites, from where you are going to find your data, or you're going to find your information that you're going to put into your infographic. And also think about some different graphics, such as images, perhaps some videos, perhaps a photo that you would want to put into your infographic. We also hope that you would use at least 3 photos or 3 images. So going back up here, Again, you do not have to turn this in, but that can really help in terms of planning purposes. So you're going to create an infographic based upon your topic, and what you're going to wind up doing is actually submitting it on the website that you are constructing. So that's why we really want you to watch that Wix tutorial, because that shows you how you're actually going to create and construct a website in Wix. I'm going to go back over here, and what I'm actually going to do is go back into Wix, and I'm going to show you how you would embed an infographic. So I am back in my Wix account, and I'm doing a site that has to do with pros and cons of electronic cigarettes. I'm going to go back to Edit Site, and once I'm back here, remember that this is where I create my different pages. I actually managed to create a page here that's called Infographic. And remember, the way that you can actually create a page is to go to Manage Pages, and you can add a page if you need to, or you can go over here and change the names of any pages that carried over from your template. So now I'm going to go to Infographic. Right now I don't have anything here. So this is what I'm going to do. Once I have created my infographic in Piktochart or Canva, and I have saved it as a PNG file, you do need to save it that way, because the next thing I need to do is go over here to Add. And I'm going to add an image by uploading an image first. And when I go to Upload Media, this is where I can go to my computer and I can find the PNG image for the infographic that I actually created in Piktochart or Canva, and then it will be uploaded into this media site. And I wanted to show you this because this is an infographic. This really has nothing to do with electronic cigarettes, but I'm going to use it as an example. This is an infographic about myself, and I've already uploaded this into Wix. All I have to do now is just highlight it to select it and add to page. And there is my infographic, which was saved as a PNG file. The reason I wanted to go over that with you is that this is actually how you're going to submit your infographic. You're not going to submit this as a separate file. You're actually going to submit this via the page on the web portfolio that you are constructing. So you're going to embed the infographic just as I did. The other part that you need to submit is a works cited page of your sources that would be used in the infographic, and you can use MLA or APA citation style. Now you can submit this page one of two ways. You can actually put your sources of information directly on your infographic and make sure that it's clear enough so that Megan and I can see that on your infographic. So that's one way. The other way would be just to create a separate works cited page in Microsoft Word. Now, if you do this, I do want to show you something in here when you're getting ready to submit an assignment. I've already submitted something, and that's why it says resubmit assignment. But I'm going to go back over here again because I wanted to show you two things. After you have embedded your infographic into Wix, and we'll go back over here to this tab for my editor, make sure that you first publish your site. And that will go live with your latest changes. This is now the URL for my site in Wix, which has the page for the infographic. If I want to submit this, I'm going to highlight it, copy it, go back over here, and paste the URL for my Wix website, and then that's what I am submitting. And the great thing about this is once you have published this and you submit the URL, Megan and I can go ahead, we can take a look at your portfolio, and we can look at your infographic page and see if it's completed or correct. If you do a separate works cited page on Microsoft Word, this is what you are going to need to do. First, you would submit this assignment for your website URL. And then if you do a separate works cited page, go to File Upload under Resubmit Assignment, and then choose your file, choose your page that has your works cited page on it in Microsoft Word, and then you can submit your assignment again. So then that way we would actually see two things. We would see your website URL, and then we'd see your page. You can do it that way, or like I said, you can actually put the works cited, you can put those sources directly on your infographic. And then if you do that, you only had to do one submission, which would be your website URL. If you have any questions about this, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or reach out to Megan, because this part can get a little bit confusing if you haven't done these multiple submissions before. So that is one learning assessment. Learning assessment number 4. And finally, our other learning assessment for this week has to do with citations. And what we want to do in this one is to teach you how to read citations in scholarly material and be able to write them in a standard and a recognizable format. So this is using APA style. So this actually has two parts. You're going to download the citation words document. I'm going to go ahead and just preview it for now, but you will actually do your work in the downloaded document. So for the first part of this worksheet, I had to identify the type of source that's being cited. So is it a book? Is it a journal article? Is it a website? And then I must go in and identify the element that is missing. So in each of these citations for part 1, an element is going to be missing from the citation. It might be something like the publisher or the author or the date of publication. It might be a lot of different things, perhaps page numbers. Look very carefully and think about what might be missing. So under resource type for each of these, you're going to put down if you think that's a book or a journal article or a website, and then identify what you think is missing in that citation. If it's missing a volume number, an issue number, an author, a title of the article, whatever you think it is. And then for the second part, you're going to select 5 resources that are related to your research topic for this class. And we're hoping that this is something that you can use in another upcoming assignment called Recommended Resources for your web portfolio. So the first thing you will do is label each resource with its type. So this example that we provided you is actually for a book. So we said that was a book. There's a citation. And then what we want you to do is either use a citation generator or a citation tool in a database and construct an APA-style citation for each resource, paste it into the document, and then after each citation, describe any corrections that you would need to make in order for it to be correct. And I'm going to give you an example here of how that would work. So let's say that I wanted to go to the ESU webpage. And I'm going to go to the library. And remember that the new way now of getting to our databases and journals is through Library Connect. So I need to click here. So in this particular instance, I am going to go to databases. And I think I'm going to go to the PsycInfo database, which is for psychology. And I'm going to do a search this time that has to do with aromatherapy and relaxation. Now, I am at home because I wanted to show you that when you're off campus, and I'm sure all of you have had a chance to do this, you do need to enter your ESU username and your password. That authenticates you as a currently enrolled ESU student. And I'm going to do aromatherapy and relaxation. So that's the topic that I'm researching. And I have a lot. I have 36, which is kind of nice to be able to take a look at. These are all looking pretty good so far. Okay, I'm going to choose this one actually, because this is going to be good for the example I want to show for part 2 of that learning assessment. So you know that I go over to Cite for a citation tool, and I'm generating an APA citation. So for the purposes of this assignment, I would copy that, and I would go back over here, and then in my downloaded worksheet, I could list this as my first resource. So my first resource is a journal article, so I identify that as research type, and then I'm going to copy and paste that citation. Now, I am going to have to make some corrections though, because what happened was that in that citation that we found in PsycInfo, we actually found that there were, I'm going to move this a little bit here. What we found here was that there were words in the title of the article that are actually not capitalized if you're using APA style. So I would have to make the changes of putting in lowercase outpatients, menopausal symptoms, obstetrics, and gynecology. So that is the correction that I would have to make a note of for part 2. So you're going to do that for 5 citations, construct an APA style citation, paste it into the document, and to describe any corrections that you would have to make in order for it to be correct. Again, if you have any questions about these learning assessments and how to complete them, please reach out to Megan and reach out to me, and we're happy to help you. Good luck.